Okay, this is replay featuring the USS Sims. In my Sims, I'm playing solo, and I'm getting some pretty awful matchmaking. First of all, I'm bottom tier by quite a bit. Almost all the enemy DDs are a tier higher than me, or two tiers higher than me for that matter. They have two tier 9 radar ships, which is also really, really bad. So this is some really, really tough matchmaking. A question I get a lot is that um, how is someone supposed to carry a game when they're bottom tier, when the enemy ships, or a lot of enemy ships, are just vastly stronger than them? And this replay can give a really good demonstration of how to do that. This is actually a little trick I like to do, because I want to kind of see where the enemy DDs are. So if there's enemy DDs located above or around A or in between A, and I fire, I know I'm going to get detected. And there's very, very little risk to me because, nobody can really hit me at this range. So I'm just kind of seeing where the enemy DDs are. Because I know all of them can outspot me. It's pretty obvious now that there's one in A, but sometimes they go in between B and C and do a little route before getting to A. And I don't want to get outspotted by the enemy DD. That's always bad. Because then he can favorably trade hit points with me. He can ambush me and then turn out, and I wouldn't really have an answer to that. If I hadn't detected an enemy DD, I probably would have gone for A. Because sometimes the enemy DDs, or the entire enemy team just ignores A, and I can sneaky cap A for free. So, in this case, me and the Benson are going to be.
Engine boost deactivated.
Mahan spotted. Instantly open fire on him. I first think he's going to stop and smoke, but he actually goes forward, which is definitely not what I would have done. So I'm just going to start lighting him up with my HE. I'm getting quite a bit of return fire. And I want to turn out. I really, really want to kill this guy since he doesn't seem to be smoking at the moment. So I'm actually going to do a stop juke. Let some cruiser pass shells splash over me. And I accidentally hit the wrong button at first. I intended to smoke a little bit earlier. So I'm pretty sure he launched torps at me. So I'm just going to angle against those while I fire out the Algerie. I wait for a little bit to see if there's torps, and I'm ready to run or angle to dodge them if there are, and there's nothing. Algerie seems to be completely still, which is weird. So these are probably the world's most optimistic torps, but what I was hoping to happen was that the Algerie would stealth up and I guess just kind of stop there. And he'd be, I kind of took him for a really, really dumb player at first, and I still think he's pretty dumb because that's just an awful position. He's very lucky he didn't get deleted by a battleship. So I thought he might have just stopped there, stealthed up, and who knows. I mean, it's not like I had anything else to torp at the minute. And you don't get extra points for for shooting less torps, so I mean, why not? Speculative torps, and maybe if he moved forward a little bit and tried to angle in, he would have also gotten hit by the torps. So now I'm going to move towards C. Because the enemy definitely have A cap. There's no way I can contest that. So the only other thing for me to do is to try to take back C. Got to be really careful around this Missouri, because he has that rather powerful radar. So I honestly, because I know I don't really have any risk of getting return fired on, I take a couple of cheeky shots at the Missouri. Except they all miss. This is just really, really, really bad use of guns right here. Don't really quite know what I was thinking. I take a couple of speculative shots against the Kagero. I even predicted that he would turn out. I aimed quite high, but, you know, USNDD shells. So now I want to stealth back up. I'm spotted anyways, so I'd fire a couple times. Very unlikely that any of these are going to hit, but, you know, I gotta try. And right now it's looking pretty bleak. We're down 2 ships. See the Baltimore fire at me, so I pop speed boost, go forward, they'll splash. And I'm actually being radared, so I will be maneuvering to make sure that I don't get hit by anything nasty. Radar's out. I'm gonna want to try and torp this Missouri. Fortunately, though, he knows I'm here, and, you know, just because someone has a Missouri doesn't mean that they're a good player, but the average Missouri player, as I've observed, is smarter than the average battleship driver at Tier 9. If nothing else, they would have to have a lot of experience to get the Missouri, because it is quite expensive when it comes to free XP. So I'm fairly certain he's just going to back up, so I launch one set in the hopes that he, you know, stops backing up or goes forward a little bit, but I'm fairly certain he's just going to back up. See if I can pop him over this island, maybe set single fire. Nope. Don't have the angle. Got one shell off, and oh look, a juicy, juicy Benson. Let's shoot him instead. Looks like he's locked in a gunfight with a friendly DD. I'm just going to DPM him down best I can. Enemy Benson destroyed. He was really, really stupid. I'm not quite sure what he was doing, but that was... well, that was that.
Engine boost direct front.
And there are his torps. Very easy to dodge.
Torpedoes to starboard.
I had a feeling they'd be coming, which is why I angled in. Looking for torps on the Missouri again, but he's really playing hard to get. Unfortunately, I'm detected. It is well, either they're Fletcher or Kagero. I don't like being outspotted, so I'm gonna run. And looks like this Baltimore's noticed me too. Tags me because I didn't really see him. I couldn't really anticipate a dodge. Looks like the... again, I'm gonna try to tag the Missouri with torps. This is actually a replay bug. I have my I have my target lock set on Missouri right now. So the Missouri is actually slowly moving forward. So I'm hoping he moves forward a little bit and stops, or slows down a little bit. And this Baltimore is actually radaring me. This is basically a useless radar because I'm a Sims. And I'm also not trash at dodging. I can actually, at this range, and me kiting away from him, I can actually dodge in between the individual shells if there's a gap wide enough. So at most, I'm going to be taking, what, one shell, if there doesn't happen to be that gap. Or if his shells are like clustered tightly, I can just dodge the entire salvo. So he got really, really greedy trying to get me. He's like, oh, destroyer must kill, right? So now he's going to pay the price for it. And tags me once, actually bonks my turret. I'm a little peeved he came all the way out here just to ruin my torp run, so I'm gonna fire a few times at him. It's not actually gonna do anything, but I know he won't be hitting me, and I'm just kind of PO'd at the moment. Little bit pissed. He tried really, really hard to get me, and he completely failed. And now he's dead. Right now it's looking pretty bleak for our team. They're up points, they're up caps, they're up ships, and our FDG is probably about to die. They also have 2 high-tier destroyers left, and I'm only 1. I'm just a Sims. So, what to do? Looks like this Missouri's pushing in. I'm gonna gamble on him not blowing his radar, because he doesn't know I'm here yet. As far as he knows, something else is spotting him and not me. So what I'm going to do is, I know he's going to stay nose in. Maybe angle slightly, so I stack my torps, just to try to get like a nose hit. And now I'm going to move out of his line of fire, and just in case he decides, oh my god, I need a radar. And now that I'm out of his line of sight, I open up with my guns. Try tagging his superstructure. I know I could be mashing M, but I feel like just for this application, this is a little bit more efficient. So here comes my torps. If I get lucky, I get 2. If I don't get lucky, I get 1. Looks like I'm going to get 1, but it's going to be a nose shot, so most likely going to cause flooding. Boop. Only 5,000 damage because, you know, Sims torps. But now, I'm going to try to set him on fire. And I get a couple of fires going, plus a little bit of help from my team, and this guy's actually completely toast. I cannot seem to get a fire going for the life of me. I'm not quite sure why. The RNGesus said no. And at this point, it looks like the tables have turned for the most part, so we're actually quite in the lead. And this Missouri is toast. That fire took a lot longer than is needed, but yeah, you know, got there in the end. Sherpitz manages to escape on 620 hit points. And the rest of our ships are very, very low. So, oh, Arbuki just murders the Charles Martel. So I'm going to go to C. We need the cap points. And I comment in chat that they kind of threw because, well, they kind of did. I don't know how their remaining 2 destroyers died, but if they had been alive, we definitely wouldn't have won this. We definitely need this cap because they're up points, and I have a feeling that at least one of our battleships is going to die. Not quite sure why this Turpitz is coming in at 696 H. Oh, this is a problem. That's an Atago, and that's a Turpitz. Right now, just doing math because I'm in between them both. They're 19 kilometers away. This is gonna be trouble for my Turpitz, but luckily he actually has a heal up, so he gets that off um, before the Atago can finish him off with HE. However, he's still really low. All it takes is one fire, force the Turpitz repair, and then another fire, and this Turpitz is dead. And that could be pretty bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay some smoke for Turpitz and spot for him. Again, Turpitz is very, very likely just going to straight up win the fight, but at this point in the game, I don't want to take any chances because they're technically up 100 points, and I'm fairly certain that our Iowa is going to die at some point. So I told him to get into smoke and that I'll spot for him. The Atago already took out half of the health that he healed up. So probably for the best. So he's all nice and smoked up, and it's going to be really hard for that Atago to kite him because he can't see him at all. So Atago's like, what the heck? And he turns too much broadside and he dies. I also spot these Torps for the Turpitz. If he had stayed still or moved forward, he probably would have gotten tagged by a Torp and killed. So, luckily those were spotted. He's backing up now. I'm just checking to make sure he's backing up. If he wasn't backing up, I'd type a little note to him in chat to make sure that he knows. I'm going to tap my speed boost and head over to the A direction just in case something happens. So basically what happens for the rest of the game is that the Ibuki kills the Iowas, they get a bunch of points back, but it's too late because we have triple caps, and we end up capping out. But I want to talk about what my role as a bottom tier, I guess most people would consider the Sims a either balanced or even slightly weak destroyer, what my role was in this game, and why I was able to win this game. I played incredibly opportunistically. I made almost no aggressive plays, except at the Mahan in the beginning because I realized he was a potato, and I really needed to capitalize on his potato-ness. But other than that, everything was completely opportunistic. Or a Sims would lose a gunfight to a Benson most of the time. But because that Benson was already being engaged by a Fletcher and he wandered into my gun range, he was incredibly vulnerable. And I put myself in positions so that the opportunities could basically come to me. Like I was kind of in that area between B and C where the enemies were trying to make a push. And like for example, their Baltimore got super greedy for me because he thinks, oh, must raid our destroyer, and he went after me and that got him killed. That kind of thing. The Missouri was just kind of hanging around the area, and I kind of just waited for him to make his move. Of course, I didn't charge him around the corner and try to get YOLO torp him. I basically waited for him to come out for me, and that requires patience. But again, why we won is because more than anything else, more than the caps or the kills, was staying alive. It's just so important for a destroyer to stay alive because in a domination type game mode, they're just insanely powerful late game because they can sneak behind enemy lines, they outspot everything, and they can get those caps that are needed for a clutch win. So yeah,